That's why I'm surrounded by children. Hey, Internet, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and welcome to Paradise, Michigan. Tonight's our 15th episode called Spies Like Us. You see what I did there, Carrie? I changed it a little bit so I don't accidentally almost say, and this is Scribes and Scrolls.
I 100% noticed, of course.
Yeah. Yes, this is our Kids on Bikes RPG set in the fictional town of Paradise, Michigan. Now, I realize there is a real town of Paradise, Michigan. This is not that town. This is based on the real town of Empire, Michigan, but it's called Paradise. It's a whole thing. Just trust me. And
go with it.
If you have a problem with it,
Wait.
oh well.
Wait, we're playing a role-playing game, but it's, based on make-believe? What's
Exactly.
I can't possibly put my head into that headspace. I don't.
Well, you'd be surprised the number of comments I get of people that are like, but that's not where Paradise is. It's called make-believe, friend. Yes. And we're going to play some of that tonight. But before we do, let's take a look up there above Tamiko's head and the empty chair where M was sitting just a moment ago. And you can see that we have domain pops. And I actually owe you another one. Domain pops are something that are a way that you, the audience, can have a little bit of an impact on our game simply by subscribing, resubscribing, gifting subs. You can cheer 500 bits, tip $5, whatever. They all count towards domain pops that the players can then use. They can kind of stack them as adversity tokens to gain +1 for each domain pop that they use. Or our new D100 mystery grab bag. Which is just a whole bunch of things from really, really good to really, really bad. We've had a couple of rolls on there. Hopefully we'll see another 1 or 2 or 5 tonight and see how much they want to tempt their fate. Couple notes real quick on schedule. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, because every time I announce something, we end up pushing it for various reasons. You can pretty much count on, though, that Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern will be right here for Kids on Bikes, and 8 p.m. Eastern on Monday nights we'll be there for Scribes and Scrolls. We should be starting up Sky Metal Iron Gods as early as next week. Stay tuned for that. And we do have a couple of off-schedule games of Call of Cthulhu, our Mythos Investigators game. We had to reschedule this Wednesday's game. It will probably happen this Sunday evening. And that is going to be a special one-on-one with Ricky as the historian and looking at Dwight's Brock Johnson to see what he's been up to, because he's been away for a little bit. And then on the 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern will be the whole Mythos crew back again for our next regular episode of that Call of Cthulhu, which is an original scenario created by Ricky for us, and he's just a master of that cosmic horror genre. So tune in if you like that kind of stuff. The last thing I want to mention before we get started, 2 things. One is a reminder that or letting you know that this stream, while it is called Kids on Bikes, and we're focusing on some kids in the 1980s in small town, Midwestern town, things can get pretty intense at times. And there's adult language used and intense situations. So use your discretion when determining whether or not you want to experience that sort of thing. And if it gets too intense for you, feel free to bounce on over to another stream. We will not be offended. But speaking of those intense situations, I want to make sure everybody is aware and remind the players We have safety tools in place. We have all agreed upon a set of safety tools using the lines and veils and traffic light system. And it is a way that, one, we already know what our hard lines and what our veils are in advance. And anybody in our game at any time can call on their safety tools to kind of pump the brakes on a scene or divert a scene if it gets too intense. So just be aware that we are doing everything we can to keep ourselves safe and respect one another's boundaries. The final thing before we get started is just we want to, as always, remind you and let you know that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether you believe it or not, it is true. We know that there's so many different ways and so many things going on. Everybody's life is different. We all are dealing with different things, and different things can cause you to struggle. And maybe you don't know where to turn. First off, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to have those struggles, but you do not have to struggle alone. You can come into our chat at any time you want, type in !help, and a couple of URLs will appear. They'll also show up at the bottom of our screen, so they're available on our VODs as well. Those are findahelpline.com, or you can check out takethis.org's growing list of resources. We encourage you to visit those websites, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. With that, it is time to welcome you once again to Paradise, Michigan, as we take a look back at some of the recent events that have brought us to this current point in time. Most recently, after the events in the miniaturized version of Paradise, in the form of a train layout at Betty and Jude's Craft and Hobby Store, there was immediately afterward, there was an incident where in the power surge that was a combination of Templeton and the power within the lighthouse, Jessica pixelated, deatomized, dematerialized, whatever you want to call it, with a quick word and glance to Laz saying, "Take care of them." Jessica vanished. The kids were quickly scooped up by Christina of Page's Bookstore and by Betty of Betty and Jude's. They were taken to Page's Bookstore, where they learned all about the ley lines that are intersecting all over the town of Paradise and accounting, at least to some degree, for some of the bizarre things that are happening. Many of them present, including the three sisters, Christina, Tammy, and Nikki, as well as several others that you all met 100 years ago on your brief journey to the past. They make up an organization or a group called the Seven, self-appointed protectors of Paradise that are trying to keep an eye on all of you. But quite frankly, you are all wild cards. Since you've arrived, weird things have started happening, more so than at any other time. They suspect certain areas are hotbeds of activity, and they suspect an organization that is working with nefarious goals in mind. Kind of speaking to that was your newfound friend, Templeton the Rat. The white lab rat who has the ability to, one, to speak, but also can manipulate electronics and electricity and things like that. As a show or a demonstration of his abilities, he began to control all the toys and the lights and everything within this basement, which simultaneously, during that moment, Billy began to also dematerialize, and you were all left with no idea where Billy and Jessica had gone. I believe Billy's last words that you heard were something along the lines of "I will find her." And for the next week, you all tried to occupy yourself. Things kind of quieted down. Not a whole lot of weird stuff happened at first. Some of you did various things around town. Most notably, you all decided to check in on the events at the library on Tuesday evening, where you discovered a group of people that were leading what appeared to be a bunch of conspiracy theorists looking at things happening around town. Though there did seem to be a couple of very astute observers, Chad and Travis, that seemed to have a little bit of an idea of what might be going on. But also there was a woman named Shirley who mentioned seeing something odd at the Paradise Orchards processing facility where she works. And that gave you your first concrete evidence, or at least lead, that something definitely is going on there. It's been a week now, and I think it's time for us to check in on Billy and Jessica.
Yes, dude. Coming in hot. Let's go.
Billy and Jessica, I would like you each to roll a d20. Straight up, no modifiers.
Good for bad, so not
10.
20.
Ooh.
Billy got a 20. Jessica, you got what?
10.
10.
10.
So we will be looking at Billy first. Billy. After you dematerialized and you watched as, to your eyes, it almost looked as if the scene around you itself was dissolving. Your friends were dissolving and separating, leaving you briefly in a void, similar to when you returned back from the past. Except this time, you don't have any recollection of falling into an interrogation chamber by mysterious figures. In fact, you don't remember a whole lot initially. There's a grogginess, as if you had been hit over the head, concussed, and you're trying to regain consciousness. You have a sensation of people around you, occasionally bright lights shined in your face, as if looking through, when you try to open your heavy eyelids, as if looking through gauze, you can see overhead lighting whizzing past, and shadows of people looking down at you. Faint recollections of a tightness in your wrists and your ankles. Faint recollections of poking and prodding. Definitely what feels like needles going into your arm, into the back of your hand. Somewhere in the midst of all this, you settle into a deep sleep. You wake up, sitting up suddenly. You hear the rustle of your sleeping bag. You can hear the crackle of the fire just outside your tent. You have that disorientation, where you might be, how you got here, what day is it, who even am I? You're inside the tent. It's just you. What do you do?
So I would immediately begin looking at my hands, looking for any kind of signs of where was I stuck, where was I poked and prodded, and what have you. Then I would, failing to see anything there, I would try to see what's in the tent. I haven't been camping in a while. Situation at home is kind of taken me away from, much of my scouting situation. So like, if anything, like that would be a little disconcerting for me, being back in an environment that was fully pleasant. Uh,
Looking around, you spot the familiar coloring of the tent. You see your pack, the same pack you've previously taken on every scouting trip. Uh, some of your I don't know what that would look like. I never was a scout or on a scouting trip, but whatever you would expect to see there, this has all the familiarity of every camping trip you were on with the scouts.
so, as a typical scout, I would put on my shoes, grab my knife, and step out of the tent to see where I am and what's going on.
You step out of your tent. And you see a fire crackling. It's not super bright. It looks like it's kind of in the stages of winding down. And you see tents all around you. You have a strong sensation. I want to use a camera movement for a moment.
Sure.
This is the typical scene where we see you looking around the campsite, and we see the camera from inside the tree line, as if the camera's peering out from the bushes. It's a shaky handheld camera, like somebody's watching you. And you have that sensation that you're being watched.
So, if I've got the wherewithal of like this is rather unnatural, and I feel like I'm being watched, like I would begin scanning the tree line. I would begin looking to try and figure out the inconsistencies. Looking for, like, is this something that's a memory, like an extrapolation of somewhere I've been, or is this some kind of like mental facsimile? Did somebody kind of create this hoping to get things right? So is it a familiar campground? Is it a familiar campsite? Or is the general placing, like the setting, just a general forest, and I can't place it to a place I've actually been?
Go ahead and make a brains check for me.
Only I could use that roll that I had done earlier. Oh, ask and you shall receive. Holy crap.
No.
That's a 28. I
Okay.
exploded.
Wow, you're so smart.
Boom. Brains.
Everything about this scene looks exactly how you remember it.
Okay.
Down to the smallest detail. You recognize the tents of the various other people in your scout troop that you would expect to see. You see your scout leader's tent. This camp looks like. In fact, why don't you take a moment? You have both character and real world experience. What would this scouting encampment look like?
So tents would typically be, set in a particular pattern, far enough away from the fire. The leader's tents would be on the other side. You've got either, if it's a larger place, it would have a concrete pavilion with concrete floor of a wooden pavilion. Failing that, there would be like a pop-up, awning style over top of a picnic table. That's close enough to the fire so you could easily move things, over to a table. I imagine if it's early in the morning, there's probably a couple scouts sitting, either on the ground or on, small little foldy chairs.
This
not
is
like
middle of the night. This is not early
Oh,
morning.
middle of the night. Okay.
Yep.
Then is probably the pops and cracks of the fire might be you know popping off against kids snoring or rustling in their tents, not quite ready to go to sleep yet.
You
But
you hear the popping of the fire, that snapping, but then you hear another snapping behind you, just beyond the tents in the tree line. The snapping of a twig, a stick, somebody stepping on something.
So I would take that moment to not just immediately turn around. Maybe if I suspect that there's somebody there, then if I give them just that extra couple seconds to like slowly begin panning, that maybe they'll make a second mistake, and as I get to where I can look behind me, that I'll be able to see them better.
As you are doing this slow turnaround, we see this vantage point once again from the camera, but this time as you're slowly turning around, the camera is slowly turning around you in the opposite direction. And it's a very low angle, looking up at you, and we see your face, the stark underlighting of the fire and the stark contrast of the shadows. And as the camera pans around, we see, looking up and behind you, the tall, dagger-like points of the trees reaching up towards the night sky, each of them edge-lit by the full moon high above your head. I would like you to make a grit check, please.
Oh my god.
It's going to be a 10, sir.
You feel the hairs on the back of your neck begin to rise. And the hairs on your arms begin to stand on end. You feel yourself breaking out into a cold sweat. You hear behind you another snap of a twig. In front of you, the snap of a twig. Off to your left, off to your right. Seems to be coming from everywhere. You feel a sharp pain in your back, in your arm, in your legs, and you realize this popping sound that you're hearing, like twigs snapping in the woods around you, is your own bones snapping. You are fully in the throes of the worst pain you have ever felt in your life, Billy. You feel as if your head is going to explode. You feel as if your skeleton is reshaping itself, trying to emerge from within your body. As your back arches intensely, and you are looking straight up at the full moon, and you feel yourself begin to transform. And a howl escapes from your deep within your soul. And as you howl into the sky, we're going to switch over to Jessica.
Oh.
You are in a room that is very sparsely decorated. Decorated isn't even the right word. Very sparsely appointed. There is a built-in stainless steel desk / table. There is a stainless steel toilet and sink off in the corner. There is a simple bed that appears to be bolted to the floor. You are in a room that there are no windows, and the only door looks to be of steel construction, green. There's no windows, but there is a very narrow slot up at about eye height. You are sitting on the bed, having just woken up. You do not know how much time has passed. Looking around the room, in addition to these few pieces of furniture, you see that you are wearing white cotton pants and a white slip over, very loose fitting cotton shirt, very much like hospital scrubs, but they're white. And you have these very thin slip-on like slippers, halfway between slippers and socks. Yeah, this is the scene you awaken to.
Hey, Jake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we have Jessica roll on the table also, please?
Oh.
Yay! Roll
Okay.
on the roll
You s-
table.
did I-
Because it can't get worse.
Depending on what comes up, this could take a little while to resolve, but no worries.
We'll save it. We'll put a pin.
So D100, right?
Yep, a D100.
All right.
Low numbers. low numbers.
43.
Right in the meat. Jessica's gonna find a cool ball too.
All right, I will make a note of this, and we will see when this resolves. But given this particular result, it can't really resolve right now. Jessica, what are you doing as you're sort of coming to awareness? This isn't, I wouldn't even say you wake up. I would say you come to an awareness. Seated on the bed, your back against the wall, hugging your knees to your chest. And you just suddenly, there's like a buzzing. The light seems bright at first, and then you see everything as you look around the room. What do you do?
Yeah, Jessica looks down. The sneer kind of comes across her mouth. And she looks at her scrubs and what's around her, and she gets up. She looks around though, just like kind of putting her hand to her head, bracing herself against the light.
As you raise your hand to your head, you notice that your right hand is very sore. And the knuckles on that hand are bruised and bloodied.
Good for
She
you.
just like Jessica's been fighting. She like covers her hand. She's going to slowly approach the door with the bar window, and she's going to put her head and ears closely, see if she can hear anything.
You get in close, leaning in. We see that sort of close. The camera's like right up next to it, and we see your face lean in. You press your ear. And as you press your ear, shoot, the thing slides open right next to your head. And a voice yells in your ear, "Back against the wall!"
Immediately, like Jessica steps back and like stumbles back, more for like fear, like surprise rather than like listening. As she just stumbles backwards.
All the way Keep going back to the wall.
She does so. She's gonna not say anything yet.
Once you move back to the wall, you hear the sound of keys jangling. You hear the sound of a key and a lock. At least 4 locks are disengaged.
Damn.
Then you hear
Damn.
shunk as the heavy metal door is pushed slightly open. It opens. I guess it would be pulled. No, it would be pushed inward, slightly opening in towards you. You see, as it does so, you actually hear from out in the hallway. Go on. Go. Very hesitantly, what looks like a young orderly, a man with dark hair, trim, looks like he's probably about 25, 26 years old, steps into the room holding a tray of food. It's a plastic, like an orange plastic tray like you'd, find in a school cafeteria. As he steps into the room, you see he's got his eyes on you and he's not taking them off. His right eye is black, his lip is split. He hesitantly takes a step forward. He sets the tray down on the built-in table. As soon as he sets it down, he takes a step back. He just glares at you a moment, and he backs out of the room.
Wait, Jessica yells out.
He hesitates. You see his head peer back out. Or rather back in. What?
She looks down. Can she see the food, or is it like covered, like with?
Oh no, it's not covered. It's not covered at all. You see a paper plate and plasticware, and there's looks to be a good sized slice of ham, some mashed potatoes, and gravy, peas, and a small cup of Jello. And there's a one of those, I forget what they're called. Definitely a thing from the 80s. It looks a little plastic container that looks like a barrel, but it's got like a purple juice in it. It's got the little
my
foil
God.
top. I forget what they're called.
Juice.
It's just juice.
Some of that perp.
Yep.
That purple.
They're called hugs.
Hugs. Yes, that's what it was.
Oh,
I was thinking
my
smiles.
God.
I was thinking smiles, but yeah, they're called hugs.
Wow.
Good brand name.
I've actually made there's the magic item that turns into like the lobster. I made one of them,
Oh,
actually 2 of them.
Yeah, the apparatus of
out those
Qualish.
containers.
Incredible.
Yes,
Yep.
that one.
So yeah, you see all of that on the plate, Jessica.
She looks. I'm allergic.
To what?
All of it.
She looks again at the plate. The peas.
He kind of squints his eyes at you. Well, then don't eat them. And he's
But they've like touched everything else. Do you want me to like starve? I could die and it would be all your fault.
he kind of looks back over his shoulder, and then he leans in just a little bit, looks you right in the eye, and he goes, I don't care. And he leaves the room.
Well, you're keeping me alive for some reason. And she says that as she sits down. She was trying to get like any look at him, like any distinguishing features, any like name tag or anything when he like popped back in.
I would say, yeah, give me. You know what? I'm not even gonna make you roll for this because it's not like D&D with a perception. You definitely see that he has a lanyard hanging around his neck. It was a probably about the size of a 3x5 card. You could see that there was a picture of him on there. You're too far away to read what his name was, but you saw there was some kind of a logo and some kind of title on there. Again, from across the room, it was hard to tell.
Yeah, understandable. But yeah, the fact that he had one, what was he wearing? Like, was it the same type of scrubs or different?
He was wearing what looked very similar to yours, but more like a like he had a long sleeve white shirt underneath the sort of scrub top, and was wearing tennis shoes.
She's not going to touch the food.
Okay.
Except for the Jell-O. That she'll eat. And then, but she's going to sit on the bed for a little bit, just kind of watch, like facing the door.
Make me a grit check, please.
Okay. Oh, that's a 1.
You barely make it to the bed after eating this Jell-O, and you feel the absolute heaviness of your body. You feel extremely tired. As you sit down on the bed and sit back, you feel as if you're falling right through the bed, falling into darkness. You get that sensation like you're falling through the void when you came back from the past. And then you feel sudden and intense pain as you are, bam, you land hard onto some kind of cement or wooden floor, and you can hear this sound almost like rain falling all around you, and it takes you a moment as your eyes kind of adjust. The wind is briefly knocked out of you and you realize it's raining glass. Shards of glass are raining down all around you, falling bits and pieces, landing in your hair. And you have this distorted look as you look around and you see the glass that is raining around you is tens of thousands of shards of broken mirrors. And as you look at one of the mirrors, there's a sudden flash of memory. The carnival has come to town, and you and your friends are at the local carnival, and it's a lot of quick cuts of jumping from activity to activity, trying to get somebody to win you something from the midway games, cotton candy and popcorn and big drinks, as you're moving around from activity to activity, riding on the tilt-a-whirl and the scrambler, up high above, looking at the carnival from the perspective of the Ferris wheel. And then you and your friends decide to go into the fun house. And as you get into the fun house, this is where things start to take a darker turn, because now in these quick cuts, you don't like what you see, Jessica. You turn around and you see yourself, but all compressed and squat and wide, your features distorted. You glance in another mirror and you're twice as tall. Another one has you all your limbs are all wavy and wobbly. Another one makes you look upside down. And as you're spinning around looking at all these reflections, every time you turn, it's like there's somebody moving just out of view. Just past, like you just missed them.
Yes.
You turn again, and you just missed them. Go ahead and make me a... let's make it a flight check.
All right. That's an 8.
It takes you a few times looking around, turning around, and suddenly you find yourself standing face to face with your reflection. You ever been into a department store where you have that mirror that has the wings on the side, so you can see yourself from different sides? You can kind of turn and see your own back. Now imagine that, but all the way around you. Everywhere you turn are these infinitely reflecting versions that you see of yourself. But something's different about this reflection. As you look at her, she cocks her head in the opposite direction as you. Do you say anything? What do you do?
What do you even want from me?
You're more than this. You could be so much better.
You came from wherever you came from just to sound like my mom? Please.
When you say that, your reflection scowls. A shadow crosses over her face. She flips you off. I'm nothing like that woman.
Well, at least we agree on something.
There will come a time where you will see what your true potential is. And maybe our roles will be reversed.
Wait. What do you mean? She says as she's like, looks kind of like, tries to look directly at her reflection.
As you do that, and you look directly at her, you see on either side of you in your periphery and behind her where all these reflections are, every single one of the reflections turns and looks at you. You put up a front, pretending to be something that you're not. You put on makeup and fancy clothes to hide yourself from the world and to hide the world from your own self. But I see who you really are.
What's that?
She steps in closer. You have the potential to be the baddest bitch in school. And she just kind of leans back.
You see that, like, Jessica doesn't laugh or, like, react
No.
to this, like, at all. She looks like even, like, if anything, she looks, like, even more frustrated. Like, she felt like she was, like, getting somewhere, and, like,
Mhm.
that probably pissed her off more than anything else. She's like, whatever.
Bitch.
You can't hide from who you really are. Stop hiding. Stop pretending. And maybe, just maybe, we can be friends. Or
Why would I want you as a friend? All you've done is make me look like I'm talking to myself in front of a mirror, which is, like, super uncool.
I'm forcing you to look at who you really are. And if you had half a brain, you would know that I'm looking out for you. I'm the one that's got your back. Nobody else does. You know what? I'll show you.
Yeah, Jessica nods.
She steps back, and you see the reflection of you, her fists tighten, arms straight at her side, and you see, like, she's just tightening every muscle. You see the neck muscles tighten, and she screams a banshee scream, and all of the mirrors shatter and come flying towards you. And that's where we are going to cut, no pun intended, to, hey gang, what are you all up to?
Pitching baseball. It is my thing.
I feel like at least me, if he'll have it, at least me and Oak are hanging out. Maybe Laz too.
100%. Yeah. 100%.
I will say, to aid you along, we haven't really done this because time is a little wibbly wobbly, but we're going to say that with this passing week, it's Monday.
Okay.
And you've gathered from the little bit of knowledge you've had from things you've seen throughout the week that most of the businesses in town are open on Saturday for tourists, but on Sunday almost nothing is open except for a couple of the restaurants, ice cream shops, and definitely over the weekend the processing plant was closed. But it is now Monday. So what would you all be doing?
So, if Coop and Oak are okay with it, I think what we see the two of them and Laz doing is they have like half a dozen soup cans that have been duct taped together, and there's holes kind of punched into the bottom can. And Laz has instructed Coop and Oak to hold on to it tightly, and he has a lighter that
Jesus Christ.
he is lit, and he's holding it to the bottom hole in the can, and there's all of a sudden this boom, and a flaming tennis ball comes out of the other end of it and launches into the sky and over the houses.
Whoa!
Somewhere not far away, you hear.
Oh no! I hope that doggo doesn't go for it.
So
Oh.
cool, man. It's amazing.
It launched right over the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we used a little bit more rubbing alcohol the next time, we could probably make it go even further.
That was so cool, Laz. That's like some Mr. Wizard stuff right there.
Mr. Wizard. Oh,
Come
sorry.
on, man.
The
Like,
nostalgia.
I don't know why we don't do stuff like this every night. Like, this is so cool, dude.
I thought y'all would get a kick out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that at that point, like, I think at some point on that Monday, when they're all sitting around, I think between the three of them, Oak is probably the first one to speak up. Look, I know we haven't really talked about it at all because we've been trying to, like, keep our minds off stuff. But either y'all miss Jessica or Billy or not.
Yeah, it's really not the same without them around. I miss them. I've been keeping my eye out for the cat
Well, yeah, I thought that too. I thought maybe
and checking tags. I
maybe
haven't
they
seen a
turn
Billy
into
cat.
Cats. Me neither. But I thought that too. But then that didn't happen. So I don't know. What about you, Lass?
I mean, he's like clearly kind of uncomfortable, and he kind of halfway turns away from the two of you having this conversation. Maybe watching Rosie like practicing pitching at the the green space. He kind of puts his hands kind of deep in his pockets and rocks kind of back and forth on his feet. I mean, yeah, I guess kind of, at least Billy, I mean, okay, yeah, maybe I miss Jessica too, maybe a little bit.
Okay.
More just making sure that they're not hurt or scared.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Because I wanted to get to know y'all better, and then not having the two of them here, it just feels like we're missing something,
Well, I tried getting close to the cherry plant place. There's a lot of assholes that work there apparently. That gate guard's a jerk.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to... Did y'all go without us?
Well, I mean, the other night you had to go to bed early, and
Coop,
I didn't go.
you didn't go?
I didn't go.
Did Rosie go?
Rosie might have gone.
Did y'all go without us?
You
No-
did
no,
big kid stuff together without us.
No, I was just riding around on my board and stuff, and I just happened to be near there, and I thought I'd look and see if how hot it might be if we decided to go. You know what? It's not a big deal, really.
No. Listen, it's totally okay. It's fine. Look, am I upset that you did stuff without us? Yeah, but he stops for a minute and he starts to think. If you want to go do something, some surveillance stuff, right? I mean, I got stuff. I don't have stuff, but like, my pops has stuff. I'm sure of it. I don't know how old it is. Or
What
if it'll
kind
work.
of stuff? Does he have night vision goggles?
Well, yeah.
Oh my god, that's so cool.
I think he's got some night vision goggles. I definitely know he's got some radios. I've seen some other stuff in there. But I could check it out and we could see. And then tonight we could go and we could look and see what we could see.
Wait, are you saying that we're gonna go bust into your pop's closet?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't think he'd mind. We gotta be careful with whatever we take, okay?
Does he have like grenades and stuff?
I don't know.
We're gonna find out.
I know what I've seen, and I know that he's got walkie-talkies, and I know that he's got the goggles. But outside of that it's not like he's got everything just lying around. We might have to look for something, but yeah, I don't see why we couldn't borrow something. but they're old, you know? I don't know if they'll actually work. And if they don't work,
And he kind of looks out into the street, like out into the fields, like,
where is there an electronics store here? It's not like I can go to a local Radio Shack down the road. Hey?
I don't know.
I don't know. Les, when you were riding around last night, did you see like a Radio Shack or something?
No.
No,
There's
no, I
the-
don't think there's anything like that here.
We could check one man's junk.
I mean, we could if need be. But yeah, tonight let's make a plan, okay? All of us, if you're in. Laz, if
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
why?
I think Rosie might have like a drawing or like something that she had made. Well, I mean, she might. I don't
Wait.
know why she would, but she might.
Where is Rosie?
From elsewhere in the green space, you hear whack, fuck, and you it's just basically like clearly a pitch has not gone her way, almost on cue, and and so that's you discover very quickly where Rosie is.
All I could think of was that TikTok sound. We're gonna play a game of
Okay,
whack fuck.
well,
Playing a game of whack fuck here.
Uh-oh. Did Jake freeze up for anybody else again?
I'm at a
Yeah,
brief on.
happen again.
Can you hear me?
Fine.
Oh no.
But stream is still going. Stream is
Okay.
going.
Stream is still going. Yep.
Yep, we're good.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Play on.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, there it goes.
So tonight we'll go and we'll take a couple things, and then you can lead the way, lass. All right?
Yeah. Okay. I don't know what.
Well, I mean, you went
I mean,
before,
maybe.
right? You went before, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, to the gate, but like I said, the guy that's in the booth is a real jackass, and if he sees me again, he's probably not going to be real happy.
You know, whenever I'm watching the A Team or something, and they're trying to check a place out, they don't go right up to the front. You have to go around the side or the back.
Yeah, we got to be like Pink Panther, stealthy and stuff. You know, like real Inspector Gadget
Dun,
nonsense.
dun, 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 dun.
Okay,
Right?
so
Sure.
we wait
Okay.
till tonight. We'll get what we can, and then we'll go.
Yeah, let's go. So while we're waiting till tonight, does anyone want to play duck hunts?
Duck hunt? You got
Oh my god.
Yeah, I've got duck hunt. I only have one zapper though, but the other person can control the duck.
your grandma's got duck hunt? How did you not tell me that?
My grandma doesn't. I have duck hunt. I brought it with me.
That's so cool.
I know.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Absolutely.
and they're like nerding out about stuff. But yeah, I think at that point they would split off for a little bit, and we'll reconvene.
I guess Laz will go talk to Rosie to let her know what the plan is.
You find Rosie crouched down over her like wooden milk crate, and she's like sticking her hand through it. She's already so early in the summer, like thrown so many pitches into the back of this thing that it's broken. And he's like, and she's just kind of like looking at it and seeing if she can fix it. And then she sees you come up, and she's like, "Hey, Mayor Koch, what's up?"
Yeah, I was talking with the Lollipop Guild, and I think the plan is that we're gonna go back to the cherry place tonight. If you think that's all right.
I don't see why not. I mean, we ran into each other the other day, and there was nothing. That gate guard was a real douche.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe somebody else will be on shift, you know. Or look, Coop made a good point. Maybe we should sneak around like the side or the back or something.
Hoop wants to like sneak in?
Yeah, and apparently like Oak's dad might have some like old military hardware, like some CB radios and like night
Oh my
vision
God.
goggles and stuff. Yeah, so I guess it could be fun, kind of.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. Or that, right? Like, doesn't that sound awesome to you?
I mean, yeah, it kind of does, kind of.
You're afraid. You're scared.
I mean,
You chicken shit. All your
No,
I'm Laz. I go to the rich part of town and
They-
do graffiti where they
Hey.
can't touch me.
you know what? Fuck you. They got guns and
you.
shit, you know.
You think they're gonna shoot a bunch of kids?
I don't know, maybe. If they're involved in all the rest of this shit and they have, you know, Jessica and I don't know, maybe they will.
Well,
I don't want to get
Does-
shot.
I don't want to get shot either. But I mean, if somebody's gonna get shot, we're the big kids. We got to go look out for the little kids, right? And then Rosie gets like a little closer, and she's like, "For all we know, that's where Jessica and Billy could be."
Yeah. Okay. I mean, like, you know, I want to go, and you know, I'm cool with doing it. You know, sneaky and stuff. That's fine. It's just, you know, this is the kind of shit that like it could get real fast.
And Rosie nods, and she kind of like softens a little bit, and she kind of pats him on the shoulder and starts to pack up her little crate. And she'll be like, "It'll be fine. What time are we going?"
I don't know. It's probably gonna be better to wait till dark, I guess.
For sure.
But at the same time, like, if the two of them aren't home before too late, then somebody's gonna come looking for them.
Yeah. Well, we'll just tell them there's a fireworks show down at the beach or something. They can't do those until dark.
Laz nods as if like he hadn't thought about this kind of like level of deceit, and he's kind of impressed. Yeah. Okay, that's a good idea. Maybe you should be the one to tell them. No, I don't think they. You know, they're not gonna believe it coming from me.
Okay. Right. And Rosie would kind of continue packing up her stuff, and she would just kind of like shrug at Laz and be like, "So what have you been up to? I heard you guys making explosions over in the cul-de-sac."
Oh yeah. I just showed them how to make a tennis ball cannon.
Oh my god.
It's one of the only things that my old man kind of did with me, you know, back home. It's
Mm.
kind of a good memory, you know.
And Rosie smiles and keeps packing up her stuff.
Anyways, I think I'm gonna go, you know, try to get something to eat, and maybe I don't know, I'll probably skateboard around a little while till it gets dark, I guess.
Okay. I'll see you at Dark Laz.
Yeah, I'll see you. And he kind of turns and skateboards away.
Rosie watches him for a half a second as he goes.
Laz skates away. Rosie watches him leave. And from over at Coop's grandparents, we can hear through the open window the sound of as Coop and Oak are laughing, momentarily forgetting about the troubles as you pass the time until evening comes. During this time, while we're waiting, Billy. You feel your arms straining against some resistance. You see a bright light in the center of your vision, though your eyes are closed. That light is the single circular shape of the full moon, as if burned onto your retinas. Every inch of your body aches. You feel as though you've broken every bone in your body. And you feel ravenously hungry. You open your eyes. You find that you are in the middle of a laboratory. You are strapped to a table. On either side of you, you can hear the sound of people moving around. Somebody comes close and you see a what looks like a doctor, mask over their face. They've got the goggles with the light, and they move in close and they grab the lighting above and kind of move it over top. The light stings your eyes for a moment. You can hear the beeping of machinery, of various like heart monitors and things like that. You can feel where the sensor electrodes are attached to your bare skin of your chest. You can feel the IV in your arm and another in your other arm. You're just now gaining this awareness, and you can move your head very little bit to the left and right. We're muted.
Sorry, I was muted. Do I look and feel normal, or like, do I look and feel like I was a second ago, where I was, looking at the moon and, all furry and what have you?
Glancing down, you see your own 15-year-old human boy chest.
Do I see any other adults besides the one doctor in this?
Oh,
room?
there's at least 4 or 5 people that are moving around you.
So I'm gonna try and see if I can, without saying anything, get garner some attention and get someone to look me in the face, and I'm gonna just straight up say what's going on here?
You feel the words forming in your mouth, each word feeling like it's comprised of cotton, struggling to get out of your mouth. And you do manage to weakly say these words. One of the doctors, a woman, leans over. He's coming around again. Give him more. Another 25 cc's. I can't.
No.
We've already given him well past what the limit should be. If we go any further, there could be brain damage.
Are my you said I'm strapped down, but are my hands usable?
You're strapped at the wrists and at the shoulder and at the ankles, at least, that you can feel. You can work your fingers.
Sure. So a little bit of medical knowledge, just like clenching your fist, like forces blood flow. So I'm gonna see if I can just kind of subtly do that to see if like getting the blood flow going will, kind of help me clear whatever nonsense is going on, and I can have a little bit more wherewithal.
Give me a grit check.
That's going to be a 7.
You begin squeezing your fists, and you feel the blood flowing. You feel like you're kind of your senses are clearing a little bit. Nobody seems to have noticed that you're doing this. The doctors continue talking amongst themselves. We can't proceed if he's awake. And then you hear another voice. We just may have to. Look at it as an opportunity to test its pain threshold.
Oh my god.
So I'm going to just like turn and look at whoever just said that. It's pain threshold? Am I not a person to you?
You turn your head slightly, and stepping out of the shadow, you see a man who is wearing a lab coat, has a white shirt and a black tie, dark hair, a little bit of a widow's peak, graying at the temples. We, the audience, would recognize this as Dr. Devin Sharp of the Nexus Project. We don't know what you are exactly. That's what we're trying to find out.
Well, all right. Well, I'm a human boy. I'm visiting my grandparents here. You're holding me against my will. And I believe that you have my friend Jessica as well. Where is she?
I'm going to need you...
Might not want to associate with Jessica in here.
I'm going to need you to make a grit check again.
Don't
This
have the
time-
best cred here.
Nah.
This grit check is specifically seeing how brave you actually are, how calm you actually are in the face of this situation. Not knowing where you are with all these doctors around you.
Well, I feel like I want to make a point with this. So I'd like to use two pops to make this be a 10.
Hell yes. Good for you, Ted. We have all of those pops.
Don't you have a strength that's cool under pressure?
Yes. I think he does.
Seem to recall that you have...
No, I am not cool under pressure.
Oh, damn.
Who has that?
I am intuitive and rebellious.
Okay. Well, yeah, what's the rebellious give you? Gives you a bonus in something.
I don't remember.
I
It's
think
like
it's
interacting
something
with
to do with adults.
Interactions with adults. Hold on. I'll look it up.
Yeah, I
Dibs.
just want to make sure we're giving you...
This
Oh,
is important.
so
Otherwise, Jake wouldn't have us be looking it up.
Before you spend the 2 You can still spend them if you want, but you get a +3 when dealing with adults.
Okay. All right,
Because
well,
of your
11.
rebellious nature. It specifically says that you get add +3 to rolls when resisting persuasion from adults. I think that
Oh.
applies in this role, in this case.
Right, well, then I was looking for a 10 and made it be an 11. I said I was going to use some, so I'll use 1 and make it be a 12.
It's a good thing you used that one. The DC was 12.
That was a fine use of strengths and pops.
That's why I wanted to double check that, because I thought there was a benefit somewhere in there for you. So the fear is there somewhere, but you're doing a pretty good job at hiding it while you face up to.
So, perhaps, maybe Billy doesn't do it consciously, but subconsciously, looking at, Billy's pretty smart. The guy referred to me as an it. I just had some kind of, vision or dream of being some kind of werewolf. So, all right, well, if I'm something different, if I can just kind of tap into whatever that is to just hit this point home, and just kind of deliver these points and just be like, all right, where is she?
With that little bit of narration, as you are thinking of that vision and tapping into that, you blink. You're still coming out of, you feel your body fighting, coming out of this heavy sedation. So your blinks are just a little bit longer than normal, but each time you blink, you see that superimposed vision of the full moon. You feel that fear pushing back even further. And as you squeeze your hands, you feel your arm tighten. And you can feel the restraint against your wrist. It doesn't feel like it feels like if you just put a little more pressure on these straps, you could probably break them.
I'm gonna give that a try then.
Yes!
All right, I'm going to have you roll
Do it.
a brawn check.
Okay.
What's your brawn die?
My brawn die is normally a D8.
For the purposes of this, your brawn die is a D12.
Okay. Do I still get my natural +1 for being a teen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You're still a teen.
You got teen strength.
All right. Well, I'm not really thrilled about that. That's a 6.
We see that close-up view as the doctor leans in, close enough that you can see his badge hanging down. And you, Billy, for the first time, one of you see one of these badges up close. You see this man's picture. You see the name, Dr. Devin Sharp. For the moment, I can't remember what his title was, but it's something like head of scientific operations or whatever. The Nexus Project. And he leans in close to you. For the time being, Billy, you belong to us. We will ask the questions, and you will answer them, and you will sit there and let us poke and prod you and test you. And maybe, if you cooperate, maybe you'll get to go home. As he's talking and saying this, we see the camera panning down to a close-up of your wrists where you're straining, and we see that webbing of the strap starting to pull apart. And we're going to cut over to another room. In fact, cinematically, the camera goes and we pass through a wall into an empty laboratory. I don't know why I keep saying laboratory. I've been watching too much.
Because it's serious business. That's why.
Because it's the laboratory.
We go into an empty lab and then through another wall. And in this other lab, we see Jessica in a similar situation. You are strapped down to a table. Or sorry, not to a table. You are strapped to a chair. You are in a seated position. Your wrists are strapped down and your feet are strapped down. And there's some kind of like these thick leather cushions behind your head and right to the sides here, so you don't have a whole lot of room that you can move your head. You are, you see that there are scientists wearing, some wearing the scrubs and some that are wearing full lab coats. And they look like they are prepping for some kind of surgical procedure. You see that there's one attendant is pulling instruments out of an autoclave, sterilized instruments, and placing them onto a tray. Various equipment being set up. You can see that there are monitors nearby you. As you look around this room, Jessica, coming out of this vision that you had of the fun house and the shattered mirrors and the multiple reflections and all of this, there is something almost on a subconscious level that you just start doing looking around this room. You find yourself checking for reflective surfaces. And you notice that there are no reflective surfaces. In fact, off to your left where the monitors are, like the heart monitor and some kind of like an EKG and like an oscilloscope. This is very 80s sinister lab kind of machines. Every screen has been covered with some kind of cloth or paper. There's a table that looks like it has had you can kind of see from the legs down near the floor that it was probably some kind of a stainless steel table or like a brushed metal, but it has been covered in a brown butcher's paper, and you can see the tape where it looks like it's been hastily taped up. And looking around, you don't see any signs of any reflective surfaces. In fact, you even notice where the scientists are, one of them starts to turn, and you see one of the other attendants grabs his shoulder, reaches up to his face, and pulls his glasses off.
Oh.
And folds them up, and you can't quite hear what they're saying, but he just gives them a stern look and shoves them into the owner's pockets. You can absolutely tell that precautions have been made to prevent reflective surfaces. You have a few moments, it looks like, before they're prepared to come over and deal with you. What are you doing, if anything?
Interesting. Jessica is looking. She notices all of this, but I don't think she wants to draw any attention to it yet.
Okay.
She's like, sorry, I'm just trying to think. So they're like prepping like the surgical tools.
Yeah, but you're not laid out on an operating table. You're seated in a chair with your arms and legs and head restrained. Your head's not fully restrained, but limited movement.
Right. Okay. Can I like get a glass of water or something before you like cut me open or whatever you're gonna do?
One of the attendants comes over a little bit closer so you can they kind of come out of the shadows where they are and says, unfortunately, I can't give you anything to drink. It'll interfere with the anesthetic. Can I give her ice chips?
Oh shit.
The scientist that is there is a scientist that is not quite visible. You can see the white of his lab coat and shirt, and he, from the shadows, says, I think it'd be all right if you gave her some ice chips. Just be careful. And this other person, you can't really see anybody's faces. They've got surgical masks on, and they've got the surgical caps on. And this person walks over to a table, and they have a little styrofoam cup. And you hear that they've scooped out of, from a container, they scoop in some ice chips. They come walking over, and he says, I do apologize, but I'm gonna have to feed it to you. Kind of glances almost apologetically at your wrists. And he's holding the styrofoam cup like this. And he reaches in and he takes an ice cube and he holds it up to your mouth so you can take the ice cube.
She does so, and you hear. Oh, yeah,
go ahead.
She does so, and you can hear like the crunch from the ice as she begins to like chew it. So, are you gonna like tell me what you're gonna do, or is this supposed to be all very ominous and mysterious? Listen, you two seem great. Very kind, giving me ice chips, and I can tell that you're really nice. So if you could just tell me what you're gonna do, it really help.
He's still holding that cup, and he takes another ice chip. You won't feel anything. Just relax. When it's all over, you should be able to go home to your family. You won't remember any of this. And as he holds the ice cube up to you, you catch a glint of light. Sticking out from his sleeve, you catch a watch.
Yes.
And as he's holding this, the watch, for just a moment, catches the light from above, rotates down, and we see a close-up of that watch face as your face is reflected in it. And you see your reflection turn its head to you and go, bingo. And Jessica, I need you to make a grit check for me.
Oh my god! Who needs fucking rescuing, bitch? Let's go.
Girl boss.
Hashtag girl boss, hashtag gatekeep.
Get it? Look at Jessica, thriving, moisturized in her lane.
Live, laugh, loving her way the fuck out of this place.
So I exploded and I got a 6.
You exploded and got a 6.
Well, I have a D4 for
No,
grit. Okay,
That's
so
fine.
It's fucking good.
So you, Jessica, get a tremendous sense of vertigo. As you see your reflection, you suddenly go like you're falling into this face of this watch, and immediately you see yourself from the perspective of this man's watch kind of sit back in the chair. And when her eyes open, you see they're her eyes. And she smiles. And we are going to cut to the gang. We are at Oak's grandparents' place. And the first thing we see is the scene opens with somebody's hand reaching up and turning on a single incandescent light that kind of dangles. And we hear the as an old army footlocker is dragged forward. And Oak throws the top open, and inside is all of your dad or grandfather's or combination or whatever. Just all of this.
Probably a combo.
It looks like a collection of stuff that you would find at an army surplus store.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa! Oh, there's one of the walkies you were talking about.
Yeah.
Ooh, look, a Nerf gun. And Coop reaches in and pulls out what's probably a flare gun.
Oh.
Because they're brightly colored and fun.
Yep. Yes, they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Laz
Yeah.
flattens himself against the wall, like on the other side of the room.
Okay, so we got some surveillance stuff. I can bring my camera. We got a couple of things. Let's see. I got the glasses. We got some walkies.
Where are the goggles? I don't even know what those look like. Do they look like the swim kind?
Oh no. Mm-mm.
And you gotta like you see him like dive into this chest because I imagine it's like one of those big deep foot lockers. So he's just like dig in
For a second, just ass and legs is hanging out of that.
Yeah. And then I found it. And he pulls up like this old World War II level like night vision goggles stuff, like some real like cool spy espionage nonsense. And he's like, all right, got some of these, got some of that. Did you say something about a grenade?
Oh yeah, are there grenades?
Well, we're not taking a fucking grenade.
Laz said he was wanting some grenades.
What?
I will say that as you say that, Oak.
Yeah.
Did somebody say grenades? And you pull this little ammo can out and flip it open, and you see 8 grenade bodies in there.
Yeah.
And as you pick one up, you can see what you probably know, Oak, but the others don't. It's got the spoon on it, it's got the pin, but it's hollow bodied on the bottom, and they have a blue stripe painted on them.
Yeah, I got them.
We're not taking grenades with us.
Yeah, let's take grenades.
We're not taking grenades.
They're empty anyways. Laz says, looking at the bottom of them.
That was
shit.
it?
I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
My dad was in and he has some stuff like that lying around, but yeah, they're old.
The
Like,
the
Could
blue
we use
stripe.
them to fool people?
Fooled the hell out of me. I mean, I don't know how many people we want to think that we have grenades.
I'll take a few of them.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you could hurt somebody, Rosie, if you threw one of these things at them. So I mean, like,
Fine, give me a grenade.
okay.
Also,
Take one.
Oak,
Yeah.
the night vision goggles are a very big and bulky
Yeah.
thing with like full on headgear. There's a thick cable that runs around to like a full on harness with
Full-on,
with
like,
a
Ghostbusters.
battery pack with like a battery pack.
Yeah.
This is
No way
some
he's
World
wearing
War
this.
II stuff. This is like a full thing. This isn't like a little hunter's
Yeah.
night vision goggle set.
I can't wear this. It's way too big for me.
I turn and look at Laz
Yeah.
because he
okay.
too has a 15 boy chest.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'll wear it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Are there any bear traps?
Oh my god.
I mean, I don't know.
Coop, I have never seen this side of you.
Coop, what is with you and like wanting violent stuff right now? Was it that really intense game of Duck Hunt we played earlier? I mean, I don't understand it.
It's just a bear trap. They just trap people and then they can't move.
I know
Oh
that,
my
but
god.
oh,
Well, hey,
okay.
there's a
They-
sporting goods store downtown. How about we all just go buy fucking guns?
They use them on
And-
the Bugs
No.
Bunny all the time.
Rosie rolls her eyes and she goes, "Well, I have everything I need. Y'all meet me downstairs. I'll be in the cul-de-sac with my bike."
And
Okay.
I will say
Yeah.
that besides the night vision goggles, and which are going to be a bulky item for whoever is using them, and they will have limited power just because of their age. You have 8 total dummy grenades.
Okay.
There is a army green wool blanket with a US stenciled on it. There's 3 metal canteens. There's a web belt that has, and a lot of the clips, so this web belt would allow for attaching canteens. There's a rusty old bayonet. And there's some moth-eaten remnants of uniforms, and you find a tin that has, when you open it up, there is black, dark green, and brown face paint.
Cool.
Yeah.
Camouflage.
I definitely pull out the face paint. Hopefully this does not sting nearly as much as the model paint that I put on my face.
Now
Weeks ago.
this stuff is made for going on your face.
Yep. So he's gonna gear up, and then he'll.
Are we
go.
going tonight?
I mean, I guess the longer we wait,
Ooh, give me some of the
When
green.
it's dark.
Da, da, da,
It might
da, da,
It might not
da.
sting, it's
just-
just mildly carcinogenic.
I just picture at some point Coops just got his whole face is painted green except for
Just green.
around his eyes and around his mouth. It looks like he's wearing a green balaclava.
Are you saying that Coop went Kermit?
I was thinking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. The Ninja Turtle with like the bandana around the face. That'd be great.
So there's
yeah.
definitely a brief little montage as you all are grabbing stuff, and we'll cut to. This is going to be a thing where we're going to allow a little bit of narrative freedom, or at least up for bring it up to me if in a given scenario that may come up, you might think of a piece of equipment that we didn't think of. You can ask me if you might already have that, or have found that, and we'll determine whether or not that's something. Like, you're not going to be able to go, hey, is it possible that we had a anti-tank missile in there, or a 45, but bolt cutters or, something like that. Yeah, maybe.
Bravo, Carrie. Bravo.
I
What did-
mean,
what did I miss?
I have eye black on.
Yeah.
I'll
Gotta
own that.
go full. Gotta go full.
You didn't even fucking see me, did you?
I normally don't
like
look
the
that
wind.
close at you
I'm
guys.
like the wind,
Like
baby.
the wind.
Ninja.
So
All right, bitches.
you all gather up in the cul-de-sac, and you have your bikes, you have your gear, and you set out for heading not that far, actually. As a reminder, bringing up the map here, you guys are over here. I'm pointing at something I realize you can't see, my mouse. So you guys are over to the lower right quadrant, sort of near the fold where Twilight Grove is. And you need to go basically almost dead center of the map. But you have to go out and around on M22 and come around. But there's access roads. So if you went further up M22, there is a truck road. It's used for the loading docks that leads around to the backside. The whole facility is surrounded by fence. And as you know, there is a gate guard that watches over the front and checks people in and out. So you all are riding your bikes. Where do you want to arrive?
So, is there? Again, dumb question before I ask it. Is there a back way in? Like those service, like they've got to have a cafeteria in there somewhere. Like, isn't there somewhere where they have to like drop off the food and the stuff like that?
Off the truck road?
The ice chips.
So I would say, since during that week you and Laz made a couple forays, I would like both Laz and Rosie. I almost called you Julie for some reason.
I can be Julie.
Laz and Rosie, I want you each to roll a D100.
Oh. Oh. 11.
7.
I got a 24.
Hey Jake, I can't see anybody around this map. I'm
Oh,
hiding.
I
I'm
forgot I
behind
had the
it.
map on still.
I can't see. There, everybody is.
So,
We were going incognito behind the map.
We were
Yeah.
hiding.
you were just holding the map up trying to figure out where to go, and then you just so basically what I did was I rolled 2 sets to set the baseline, and I wanted to see if one of you were going to get close from your forays. You rolled an 11, I rolled a 7, you got within 4. So you notice that there is a place around the backside where the loading dock is. There is a door that periodically you see workers wearing like a white hairnet and not really a lab coat, but like a smock kind of thing. Every once in a while you'll see them, they come out and they reach down and they stick a brick in to block the door, and then they walk around out from under the light and around the side of the building for a smoke break. You get the impression they're not supposed to be
Putting a brick in.
let alone sneaking out for a break, but every once in a while you see a couple of people come out for a smoke break. So with that, that roll, you're aware of this, and as you kids come riding your bikes up this service drive, you don't have to wait long before you see the door open up, and you see a man and a woman come out. They kind of look back, and then the man reaches down, grabs the brick, and sticks it in the door. And then you hear just that, like 50, 60 feet away, so you can hear the muffled conversation. Mm-hmm. One of them kind of laughs, and The woman takes out a cigarette. She takes out 2 cigarettes, puts them in her mouth and lights them, and then hands him one. And then you see the cherry glowing as they disappear around the corner, and you can hear the muffled conversation get quiet. And you know you have about
7 to 10 minutes.
I was just going to say 7 to 10 minutes. Although I'm going to say, since you rolled so close,
I was very close.
you've seen this man and woman sneak out a couple times, and they're usually out back for a good 20 minutes.
Weird. I wonder what else they're doing. Okay, well, so so I imagine like as soon as they like get around the corner, Rosie would be like, "Well, that's probably our best shot. We got about 20 minutes."
Okay, hold on. Let me put on my poncho.
You don't. Your poncho's gonna make noise.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Coop. I'm sorry, but your poncho is gonna make noise. We gotta go, Laz. Oh, Oak. I'm sorry. Can we leave that out here? And I look at Laz and his whole effing contraption.
It's
looks,
not dark.
He looks like fucking RoboCop, and it's not gonna be dark in there.
I do.
RoboCop, but not as cool.
Dude, you're fucking cool. Don't listen to her. You're fucking cool, man.
Don't butter him up. We have 18 minutes.
Have we asked Templeton anything about any of this?
Oh, is Templeton with us?
Templeton's, I assume, been with you guys the whole time.
I would imagine so. And if he
Awesome.
wants to come.
But only if he wants to sneak back into the lab that
Yeah,
took him
is he
before.
traumatized?
I think Templeton's overall response has been, I really don't want to go back, but
Oh.
if it means getting your friends out, then I'll do it. I'll help out however I can.
Oh.
I don't know my way around, though.
Look, Templeton, maybe it'll be a better idea if, like, you hang here, okay? And if the 4 of us get caught, you gotta organize some kind of, like, rescue party.
You need to go to the police station and talk to them.
Go to the 7.
He turns all the
Oh,
lights
man.
off.
Go to the
there's
7.
there's
That
a
makes
moment
more
that if a rat could give you that side eye look, like, who am I gonna
Bombastic.
go to? And then you go to the 7, and he's, oh yeah, okay.
All right.
So we left Templeton at home?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
It's a real
smart.
shame that we left Templeton at home. He could have helped out with locked doors.
I'm going. We have 17 minutes.
Let's
and
go,
Rosie
let's go.
sprints. Rosie
Jeremy-
sprints.
Roll a D100 real quick.
Oh no. Do good. Do good, Jeremy.
What's good?
35.
Low or high?
That's a great question.
I rolled an 83.
That's not good.
I'm not going to tell you what you were rolling for.
It's not like they're gonna
Okay.
shoot a bunch of kids.
Floodlights come up. The army is sitting out there waiting for you. What was the colonel in the A team? The one that was always Colonel Decker, was that his name?
I think so.
Something like that. No. No, I was rolling to see if Templeton actually stayed at home. He did.
Thank you. Good. Thank you.
There was a 25% chance that you guys were going to make a run for the door, and then we would see this little doot 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 doot.
I decided to come.
So you guys make a run for it.
Mm-hmm.
You run to the door. The brick is holding it open. You slip through the door, and you find yourself in what looks like a dimly lit warehouse. There are racks stacked high with boxes that are loaded up with. You can see that all of these boxes are loaded up with, they say, Paradise Orchards, cherries, pictures, the symbol with the 2 cherries. And off to the right, you can see where the loading docks are all currently closed down, why the lights are kind of brought down. You can see that there's a fork truck parked nearby. Back in the distance, you can hear off to your right. You can see where there's light at the far end. It looks like kind of through a couple areas, and you can hear the sound of machinery and things. It sounds like the main processing plant floor is off that direction. You can see, looking off across the floor here, there's a place where there's some kind of administrative offices, and those appear to be dim as well. Scanning around, you spot just across from where you are, there is a to where there's two administrative offices. There's a time clock with a bulletin board, the usual kind of health and safety stuff tacked up, couple announcements, bunch of time cards sticking in a rack. Next to that is a door that says break room. And next to that, there is a short hallway, and at the end of that hallway, you can just see that there is a green door with a brass handle.
Oak! I'm going to lean into Oak. Oak, you're really smart. You're going to have to make a map with your mind so we don't get lost.
Okay. And he'll immediately start clocking certain items in the room, like the break room, the board, the green door, noting certain things and trying to keep all of that together as they're running through the space.
Anytime where they make a turn or go through a doorway, Laz stops and kneels down near the floor with a Sharpie in his hand.
Oh.
For a second. And then when he kneels back up, you see a little arrow indicating back the direction that they just came from.
And as you continue down, you see the tile lift up and a little tiny person goes, "Ee!" I'm just kidding. little labyrinth for you.
God damn it, Algernon!
I was going to make the same comment, but you beat me to it, Jake.
So, basically, it's a pretty straight shot to that green door. And the first thing, before you can start navigating through these hallways and making your marks and stuff, is you have to get past the door. It is a locked door.
I reach for the knob. Oh, sorry.
Well, you reach for the knob and you discover it is a locked door. There is a keypad next to the door, which with what looks like some kind of a scanner and a place to potentially insert a key card of some kind.
Jake, work with me here. It is a summer eve,
Yep.
a summer's eve, and the couple who are absolutely not going outside to hanky panky may have left a coat behind before they went outside, since they used a brick to keep the door open. And I have a treasure hunter strength.
Don't want to get their nice white coats dirty outside.
So using
Don't want it
your
smelling like cigarettes for sure.
using your treasure hunter,
Which is spend 1 token to find a useful item in the surrounding area.
Come on.
so I mean that's perfect combined with what Carrie said. They absolutely don't want to get their smocks smelling like smoke. So as the others are looking at this door and scratching their heads, Coop, you look over, and in the break room, you see through that door. It's just a regular door with one of those wire mesh shatterproof glass windows, and you can see just inside, they're almost like lab coat type smocks have been set aside, and they have ID badges on them.
Is anyone in the room that
Nope.
I can see?
Nobody's in there.
Coop cruises in, grabs a couple coats.
Rosie is making mental notes of this 11-year-old kid and what a sudden badass he is. Like,
Coop comes out wearing one coat and holding another.
Oh my god.
Says, "Do you think these will help?"
Yeah, I think so. Holy shit, Coop.
It's perfect with the green face.
Well, I wasn't able to wear my smock, so
No,
Oh,
I mean, that's perfect.
That's better.
not my
This is
smock,
great.
my poncho.
Yeah. So you said their ID badges are like in the pocket or in there or somewhere?
They're stuck on the outside
on
on the
the-
They're on the
chest.
little like little clicky
Yeah.
lanyard part.
Well, go ahead and do the honors, kid.
Let's see if
Once
it
at the
works.
All right, roll a d100.
Oh, okay. I haven't rolled all day. 61.
All right, roll another d100.
No, this is how many people come after us.
This is what the
69.
green door gets us.
Nice.
Nice.
Oh.
Okay, the
yeet.
first one,
The first one totally succeeded.
the first one's for the guy. His name is Neil Mason.
Neil.
Does not work. You get a red light. The woman's Victoria Lee, Leigh.
Victoria Lee.
Hers, ding, and it bings green.
Victoria's secret is she has higher
Oh
clearance.
no! I stepped into that one. Victoria's Secret.
Hey. I
And
duck in as quickly as I can, at least.
you all duck in through, and as you duck in and begin maneuvering your way, the first thing you discover, actually, as you all duck in here, is a set of stairs leading down. Now, you entered at the ground floor. You have to go downstairs, and you go down several flights of stairs. And we see, as you all start making your way down, the camera sort of looks down through the center of the stairwell, and we just see tick, 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 as you all are making your way down the stairs. We're going to cut briefly back to Billy. With a sudden surge of strength, you break free of the straps. You pull both wrists out through the webbing, and you sit up and you feel the strap across your chest strain for a moment and break, followed quickly by the one strapping your legs down. What are you doing? As the scientists
You had said
start...
you
Ah!
had said he was. You had said he was like leaning over me.
He
with,
wasn't like straight in your
so-
face, but he was definitely leaning down. He's like, I don't know, 18 inches away from you.
So like he's going through this like you're gonna sit there, you're gonna poke, you're gonna let us poke and prod you, so like I want to have as soon as that arm breaks free, I want to reach up and try to grab his coat and probably more importantly the badge. Kind of like pull him towards me. It's like I am not gonna be your slave.
Make a...
What a badass. Get him.
I want to have you roll a fight versus his flight.
All right, so fight. Am I using anything special here?
What's your fight?
My fight is a D6.
It is a D10. So, for the time being, until I say otherwise, any of your physical, so it's going to be your fight, your brawn, and your grit, are
Okay.
going to be 2 dice higher than what they normally would be
Okay.
for you.
Oh, my
Damn.
grit is already a D12, so that would go to a D20.
Yep.
Go to like a D20 plus 1, or is it just a D20?
Oh, it's already a D20?
No. My grit is a D12. So I
Oh,
don't
it's,
know,
no,
like-
it would stop at a
Okay.
D20. So yeah, you're ready.
I exploded.
Oh,
That is a 12. 13 because
okay.
I got a +1.
So that is you for this scene. You are staying in, as far as you can tell, human form, but you see sinewy muscles like you've not seen before. You are stronger and faster than you have ever been. And because you beat his attack roll by a full 12 points, because I rolled a 1.
Ooh.
You have full control over the narrative. You explain what the defender does in response to the attack and how ineffective this response is. I'll interject if necessary, but Billy, for the moment, you have full narrative control of how you get to the door to this lab.
So my thought pattern was reach out, grab the jacket. I want this guy afraid. He's trying to intimidate me, and I'm just not feeling it.
No dice.
So like he goes into panic mode and begins pulling away. So like I pull, and I'll let you decide whether I get the jacket and the tag or just the tag. I don't care which. And then either he just like full on flees out of the room, or like he goes into like a corner and I go out of the room. And I again don't.
He's not the only one in the room, so
which.
you have to contend with the other people in the room as well.
Okay. Well then in that case, I would I'd grab the tag and just immediately leap for the door. You said I'm faster than normal, so I would kind of like quickly sprint.
Yeah.
I'm
Dr. Sharp,
trying.
you see nothing but fear in his eyes. When you break free and grab hold, for a moment, he goes almost as white as his lab coat. He has this look on his face like he believes you're about to rip his throat out. And you grab and you just rip the lanyard off with the badge off from around his neck. And he absolutely goes scrambling away into a corner. And in fear, he's just pressed into the corner of the room. That's when a couple of the orderlies come charging towards you, and you just take this leap. You can't imagine, Billy, that you could ever have leapt this far. You leap over their heads and land in like a 3-point hero stance, like you've seen in the comic books, holding onto with your hand up. You're holding onto this badge, and you turn and see them all scrambling. You've got the badge in your hand, and the door's right there. You're going out?
I step out. If I've got the wherewithal, I'll close the door behind me. Don't know if that's going to slow them down at all. And I will turn left and begin looking to see if I can find Jessica.
As you turn and shut the door, almost by chance, as you're holding this thing in your hand and you pull the door closed, the badge passes by the keypad outside the door, and because you have the chief science officer, or whatever his title is, it passes near that sensor, and you see administrative lockdown on that door. Because you did so much higher across his one roll, you've just by chance you activated an administrative lock, and you can hear them trying to get out of the door. We cut to 2 doors down. Jessica, you look down. There's that moment of vertigo, and you look down now. You realize you're looking at that watch face, but it is now on your wrist. And you look up into the room, and you see surgical instruments splayed all over the place. You see machines have been knocked over, sparking. You see that the man who was feeding you ice chips is lying unconscious on the floor. His arm is lying at an odd angle with his wrist at a particularly odd angle. And you see that there are pretty much anybody that was in the room is incapacitated, but you don't know to what extent. They could be unconscious, they could be dead, you don't know. But now you see yourself, it's you taking all this in, and your reflection is looking at you, and she looks like somebody who has just exerted themselves quite a bit, and she goes, I got us this far. Get us out of here. And looking down, you have 4 badges in your hand.
Jesus Christ!
Does she also have the watch?
The watch is on your wrist.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
You're wearing
Dude,
it.
you robbed the shit out of him. Let's go.
She like looks at her watch and she looks at the reflection. She's like, I just wanted to spend time with my boyfriend. But like you can see that there's a smirk that comes across her face as she doesn't want to know the extent of how incapacitated these people are, I think. So she leaves.
As you step out the door, you look to your right, just as a door is slammed 2 doors down from you, and you look over and you see Billy wearing just those linen pants, bare-chested, absolutely rippling with muscles. And he looks over at you, and you hear that as his door locks. He's holding a badge. You're holding a fistful of badges. And all of a sudden, in the hallway, the lights go red.
Oh.
And the 4 of you, as you are descending down the stairs, the stairwell suddenly goes red lights everywhere. And that is where we are going to end tonight's session.
Wow!
Oh my god!
Oh shit, we've been made!
It's awesome! Every man for himself!
Sorry, I didn't want to rush it too much at the end there. I wanted to get to that point because I want to honor everybody's time.
Oh my god, that was so great.
But-
oh no!
Yeah, so you're all inside a facility that now people know something's amiss.
Except somewhere there's a brick in the door.
Yeah. Well,
Except for 2 people. 2 people don't know what's going on.
I
yeah.
have no
Very
idea.
true.
2 people are trying to.
One really suddenly hit puberty. It's all kinds of weird.
Yep. And I imagine there's just a scene where as this distant alarm is going off inside the building somewhere, we see from around the corner Victoria and Neil coming around, and Victoria's like quickly buttoning up her shirt, and
Shit. Oh, shit.
Neil comes around and kind of slicking his hair back. He's like, oh man, we're so much in trouble, as they go darting for the door.
Oh no. If they beat us to the door, we're all fucked. Oh god.
Get out.
Well, we'll see.
Well, I don't know if it's locked down. We might be stuck in.
We
It is
have
locked down.
We have a werewolf and whatever Jessica is.
We have a werewolf and a Jessica. 2 Jessicas.
We have
So-
a
The
werewolf.
worst. 2
and a
Jessicas.
Jessica.
We're not locked in.
horrifying.
If that's the case, then we're not locked in with them. They're locked in here with us.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
So we'll see next week on episode 16 of Welcome to Paradise, Michigan. How are all these kids going to get out of this one? Thank you to everybody who tuned in, especially if you hung out with us through our weird technical glitches. I'll have to edit around all that for the VOD, which I'll get up this weekend. If you like what you see here and you want to see some more, you can head over to youtube.com/miniterraindomain to catch the VODs of our previous 14 episodes, as well as all our other streams that take place on the channel. Be sure to tune in for our next game, which is currently scheduled for Sunday night around 7 p.m. It'll be a special presentation of Mythos Investigators Lawlerville, followed on Monday by Scribes and Scrolls. Again, thank you to
Another
everybody.
one where we're stuck on a downward staircase to straight to heck.
Yeah, again, thank you to everybody who tuned in. We appreciate you. If you're somebody that likes to lurk quietly in the background, we appreciate you as well. And if you're watching with us on the VODs, we hope you enjoy this. And I just got to say, just a huge thank you. It's so good to have everybody back together again. And just, I just love playing with these guys so much. It's so great to have such an incredible group of players that just knows how to work with each other. And we all work well together, I think, with scene switching and moving the spotlight to different people and kind of rolling with this very narrative game. So I count myself very lucky to get to share this virtual table. So thank you, Chad, Tamiko, Carrie, Ted, Jeremy, and Em, without whom this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to go ahead and end the stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.
Man, I sure wish I had some night vision goggles.